get things rolling with the chat, I wanted everybody to please go ahead and put into there one thing that you'd be most interested in learning about today. So please use the chat function for that purpose up front and then along the way. But we're also open to live questions. Here's what we're going to expect for today. First, we're going to hear from Dave Griffith, ECS's Executive Director, who's going to be speaking about why ECS adopted MindSet. Then the director of MindSet will describe the program. Then a program participant will share his experience of MindSet. And then his coach will speak about coaching at ECS. To conclude, the MindSet program director will again return to speak of next steps for the program, and we'll have a dedicated question and answer period at the end. So starting off, I'd like to introduce Dave. After a long and successful career in business, Dave Griffith came to ECS in 2013, 7 years ago, as the 11th executive director, a position he also refers to as head coach. As he talks with us about MindSet and the ECS methodology that supports individual economic independence, the role of head coach will become clear. Dave, please take it from here.
Yeah, thank you, Carol. First of all, let me thank all of you for joining us today. Again, Zoom is a remarkable technology that we've been able to leverage quite a bit, but we are grateful to see you and be with you today. So thank you for your interest. What Carol and the team asked me to do is talk a little bit about how we got to MindSet. And to do that, you need to go back about 4 years ago, where ECS was in the middle of a strategic planning process. We're 150 years old this year, and we have constantly evolved to meet needs of the community. And that strategic plan really caused us to look at the overwhelming issues that were occurring in the city. That became to us very obvious that it was intergenerational poverty, and the current processes to address that. We concluded we were, as a sector, maintaining people in poverty, but we as an agency really wanted to see if there was a different way of doing this work that would, by meeting people where they are, lift them out of poverty. So we went out and did a bunch of research. We found an organization in Boston called Empath, and they have, for the last now 11 years, had a case management program that is based on the best available brain science, and a coaching methodology to utilize that brain science to help people lift themselves out of poverty. It is based on two very simple scientific principles. One, cognitive scientists know that when the brain is in deep crisis, its ability, its cognitive function is darn near zero. And another way to say cognitive function is problem-solving skills. So deep poverty drives crisis, which in turn really limits the ability to problem solve right at the very time when an individual wishing to change their circumstances clearly needs to be in heavy problem-solving mode. What we looked at is this methodology that they've been using has had tremendous impact and efficacy, and you're going to see some of the data here to show you that. And the more research we did, the more we liked the data, and we made the decision to go all in as an agency and adopt and modify it for a Philadelphia market. And part of that adoption was a savings match, so that as people achieve goals, we could help them with economic mobility and savings. Because what you'll learn here is there's some public policy where benefits are what they call cliff. They end at a certain level. So the ability to have assets to carry you over that time is incredibly important. So we got into MindSet 4 years ago. We also did a bunch of other things as an agency, which is another session. but we made the decision to go ahead and implement. And what you're going to hear from today are the folks who lead those programs. You're going to hear from one of the coaches, and you're also going to hear, and thank you very much, Stefan, from one of the participants who is actually working in the program today. So that's where we came from. We made a decision to do the work better. We are on the leading edge. I can tell you the program is growing. We've been approached by a number of other agencies to partner with them and provide coaching services. And as part of the fun I have with that is I have the fun of calling myself head coach. But know this, we got tremendous people working here, people who are doing this every day and driving results and impacts. So let me flip it over to them because frankly, they're the folks you tuned in to listen to, not me. And let me apologize in advance. We also run a very large out of school time program. And as you may know, how the schools are going to open this fall and how out of school time providers are going to deliver services in the interim is very much in flux. And I have a meeting with the city and my other partners that I need to join. So please don't take my absence as a lack of interest. Take it as a rather full plate. And frankly, you don't want to hear from me anyway. You want to hear from the folks who know what they're doing and the work. But again, let me thank you for being here today. Let me also encourage you to ask questions, follow up, and we'll be happy to share with you everything that we do. And if you're a fellow agency and you have questions or interests and want to schedule time later, we're obviously happy to do that as well. So know that it works. You'll hear about the data. And one of the reasons it works is our director of MindSet. So James, I believe I'm supposed to hand it off to you here, sir.
This is Carol. I'm just going to say that James has served in a variety of positions here since he joined ECS 6 years ago, most notably in the areas of coaching participants, focused on obtaining and retaining employment and building relationships with local employers. Prior to ECS, James worked with the City of Philadelphia's Office of Homeless Services, an administrative and operational role. He has a master's in social work from Temple University and a bachelor's from St. Joseph's University. James, you're on.
James, before you start, would you like to know a couple of the questions that came up?
Sure.
One in particular that I think you will be addressing at some point, but I just want to bring it to your attention is this is the second year of MindSet, and obviously it's been affected by COVID. So Mary is asking, in what other ways has the second year been different from the first? And I think you'll speak to that. We also have people who, Brian is interested in knowing about volunteering, and that is something we can follow up. And someone else wants to know the next MindSet enrollment period, and we're covering. So I think we anticipated these questions, but I just wanted to bring them to your attention before you start.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. As Carol mentioned, I'm James Burks. I have the opportunity and the pleasure to have oversight of our workforce development programs, which includes MindSet, RISE Initiative, which is our job readiness program, which we begin to introduce individuals to coaching, and hopefully they are interested in joining MindSet, as well as also I have oversight of our youth paid internship programs. So I've been at ECS for about 6 years. So it's been great to witness just the transformation and evolution of our programming. One for MindSet, where we kind of went from a whiteboard and chart paper to actually have an opportunity to work and serve individuals in the community from Philadelphia and support them on their goal achievements. So that's been a great pleasure and opportunity to do so. And for me, I'll get into describing more about what MindSet is and how some of the logistics behind it. I did want to share, I guess my why and for really, passion in terms of working with MindSet is seeing, as mentioned, I've had different roles within the team, but seeing, whether same faces or same names kind of cycle in, and with other providers, you see them, kind of go from program to program. Similar to housing, you see folks come back into the home, to the shelters and things like that. And at some point you realize, we can work as hard as we want to and we need to. At some point it does become part of a larger systemic thing, which can be frustrating and really hard to grapple with and deal with. So for me, I think mindset, we hope, is part of a solution to support individuals in achieving economic mobility and self-sufficiency. And as we mentioned, we have been seeing incremental and some progress and growth. So we definitely feel like we're on to something. We've had other organizations support us in our work. So it feels good to feel that others again see our vision and want to be part of this, what we call a movement and a journey. So I just wanted to share that. I got that small anecdote. But to share more about mindset, really, we look at mindset as being an opportunity in a program where we're able to support individual and career development and financial stability with an emphasis on coaching. And using that, we use our Bridge to Prosperity and use also our Go Action Plan, really hand in hand to support individuals to do that. Victoria, could you share the Bridge?
I just put it up. Let me know if you see it.
Not yet.
Oh dear. No, let me see here. Sorry, James.
Oh, no problem. If not, I can talk about it.
You may need to talk us through it. I see it, but you all are not seeing it. Is that correct?
Correct.
Sorry. All right. Well, I will continue to look for it, but you talk in the meantime.
Okay.
I'm also having difficulty understanding or hearing.
Oh dear.
Is that better? I
mean, I don't know if it's the microphone or, maybe if everybody else is fine, don't worry about it. It comes and goes, and so I'm missing things.
That may be your individual internet link, but can you hear me?
Oh, I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone.
Okay.
I am able to hear everyone speaking clearly.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Maybe is it possible to turn the phone up?
She's back on mute.
So as Dave mentioned, we looked at, and took program elements from Empath and looking at their model, which really focused heavily on coaching and the bridge to self-sufficiency, and really looked at the bridge, which begins to, really views the individual as in the holistic sense of the pillar. As you can imagine, the bridge, it has 5 pillars: housing, health and wellness, like a networks pillar, financial management, education and career, as well as employment. And it's, really looking at individuals to see, all those things, one is not more important than the other. And, we support participants in really saying, okay, where do you want to prioritize your time and your energy and begin working on and setting goals in these areas? So whether it be, I want to save $1,000 and as of right now, I don't have a bank account. I don't have a checking account. And that may be an area where a coach says, great, we can start there and begin to build momentum there. Or they may say, I really need to improve my health and wellness and lose 15 pounds because maybe I'm on the front line of whatever job I do, and I find it really hard for me to get around in my job. Or I want to go back to school and obtain a certification or a credential. And, in those areas, coaches really following the lead of the participant, begin to set goals and action steps around those goals using the Go Action Plan. And with that, also able to incentivize those goals and those action steps. Participants can receive cash incentives for those goals, and as well as being a part of Mindset, they have the opportunity to earn up to $10,000 in the savings match. That's over a period of time. And over a period of time, we look on average for individuals to be in Mindset for 3 to 5 years, with the opportunity, if need be, for up to 7 years to receive coaching. So along with their coach, they also have access to specialists in the areas of housing, finance, education and career, as well as employment. And just in the entire team of workforce development as well, and the entire ECS staff. So I like to give a quick analogy of the coach may be their primary care physician, and a specialist may be, that oncologist or that cardiologist. And, you may get that referral from their primary care, and the oncologist that gets that information. They say, okay, I know why you're coming to me, because here's why you're being referred. Here's this goal. here's where we're looking to either remedy or solve, and they can really work together. So you'll have this coach, the participant, and the specialist all working together toward the common goal. And again, we're always learning more about how we can improve those lines of communication, how we can better track that data, hearing from the participant on what worked, what didn't work. And really, and we look at that as just there being mutual accountability on the coach's side as well as the participant. You'll hear more from Stefan and Cordell, really around in having the participant drive that train. It really is, we're going to put as much energy in as you want to put in. And if, the goal needs to change or a plan needs to change, we'll come back to the drawing board and really, to say, okay, maybe we didn't hit that goal in the time that we wanted. What happened? Were there things in our control of whether we didn't set enough time for that goal or something came up that was outside of our control, but we can better game plan on in the future. And, it's just been since, I believe, January of 2019, we have 2 cohorts of 28 individuals, and we're gearing up for cohort 3, which we're looking to start in November. So we've been having some recruitment efforts and activities. Soon you'll be seeing SEPTA ads, as those are a really beneficial recruitment tool for us for our last cohort, as well as social media and LinkedIn. And unfortunately, we can't do the door-to-door and the face-to-face as much as we used to, but really leveraging our partner agencies to share with their participants and community organizations to share with their community members and faith-based communities. We're really hoping to blanket the city with our information about, what is MindSet. So I'll stop there. And I guess, Victoria, do I have time to answer any of those questions that came up that you read earlier?
Carol, is there time for a few questions?
Well, sure. I think some of them are going to get, let's see, specifically, where to put them? Why don't you, if you could actually speak quickly to the volunteering, just because I know Brian has to jump off shortly, and the volunteer opportunities, I'd appreciate that.
Sure. And I'm not going to put him on the spot, but I believe that was Stephen Jackson's voice who just spoke earlier. But Stephen Jackson, he's been a volunteer just in workforce development for about last 3 or 4 years in various ways of, we usually hold speed networking events. So you may want to serve as a panelist, and, work and engage with participants around just sharing your story, your journey, but as well as helping someone begin to build their professional network. We also do mock interviews. So you may have the opportunity to serve as doing someone's pre-mock interview or post-mock interview, and share with them and our staff, feedback on how someone can improve their networking, their interviewing skills, techniques, and those things. And as well as, if you may know of small businesses or large businesses, those who are hiring, those who are looking to expand their workforce, we'd love to be, made abreast of those opportunities so we can share with our participants.
And James, we're continuing all of that virtually, am I right?
Correct. We've made the transition similar to here. We've really trying to leverage Zoom and other platforms to engage with our participants, as well as if individuals have, expertise in a certain area, we love to bring them in. They can maybe either co-facilitate or facilitate a workshop, or or contribute content to a workshop, or just materials. Again, as we're making these shifts to this new space, we're trying to really make sure our participants are equipped and prepared for what's coming up, whether it be how to best be successful in a virtual interview or new and emerging industries that are, I guess, a result of COVID and things shifting dramatically. So we, really appreciate any of those efforts. Feel free to come our way. So,
Thanks.
you're welcome.
Perfect. Yeah, I think if we keep going, there'll be additional opportunities to focus on some of these questions if they aren't already answered.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So I'll come back to those other questions, but this time I'd like to introduce Stefan Marant. He's a member of MindSet, awesome young man. I had the pleasure of also interviewing him, I guess, almost a year ago at this point. So it's been great to just see the work that he's been doing, even during these more challenging times. So without further ado, Stefan, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for participating in this. Thank you for coming. So I'll just start with how I got to join MindSet at ECS. It was about a year ago. I had been in Philadelphia for a few months, had some ups and downs. I had left Baltimore where I had some connections in healthcare. But when I came here, I didn't really have, let's call it a safety net. And I was at the gym one day and I was looking on my phone on Instagram, and I saw an ad for MindSet. Now, it wasn't the first time I'd seen an ad for MindSet. I'd seen another one on the bus, and I'd heard a radio ad for it also. So I went to the website, I looked at it, and so I said, all right, this might actually be able to help me with what I'm trying to do. Okay, it's through because I was a little confused because it said Episcopal Center, and I was like, wait, is this a church program or am I going to qualify? Wasn't really sure. But I looked into it and I said, oh, okay, it's there, but it's a different program that they're running. So I applied, and a couple weeks went by, and then I went to go on for my interview, and I learned a lot more about what they're trying to do. And what interests me in it is that there's two main things. They're focused on trying to actually help people better their financial situation and get them to the point where they can independently live on their own and have not just have a job, but actually have a job where you have a livable wage, where you could actually save money, and you get help through doing that through different specialists. And the second thing that interests me was the Save and Match program. I came into it with an education. I have a master's in healthcare administration. So I knew, okay, I'm going to need help in different areas, and I think they'll be able to help me. And I know I need help with sometimes updating my resume. So that is another one of the things that you do with coaching. Your coach isn't a social worker. There's someone there you could talk to. You can bounce ideas off them. You can help work out your goals with them, and not just, oh, I want to lose weight. They don't go, okay, cool, that's a goal. No, it actually goes in depth. So for me, it was, I want to work in a hospital. Okay, what department do you want to work in? Okay, I want to work in administration. Okay, that's the job type, but what department in the hospital do you want to work in? Do you want to work in health, in behavioral health as an administrator there? Do you want to work in finance side as an administrator? So I picked administrative behavioral health because my bachelor's is in behavioral science. And so instead of it just being a goal, it narrows down into the goal. So when we're writing a goal action plan, the short-term goal was get a job in a hospital as a administrative assistant. And then it was narrowed down even more. Pick a job, pick 5 hospitals. Okay, look for those positions that you want to go for. Okay, what are those positions called for? Next step, how do you have to adjust your resume? And that's when the specialists come in. We have Rosalind Baker, who's a career readiness specialist. She helped me fix my resume and tailor it so that way it could be specific to that particular job function. And also in writing it, there were financial incentives tied to getting it done on a certain amount of time, which would go towards my savings match. And the savings match is a bank account that you deposit money into. And the first year, the goal is $450, which I'm almost at. And you save up to that amount and they match it. You could save more, but that's the minimum goal for the first year. And at the end of 3 or 5 years, they'll match it all the way up to $10,000. And then at the end of your MindSet graduation, you have access to that. It becomes yours. So that was another reason, because people talk about saving money, but you don't really have a plan. It's just, again, just a goal. It's an idea. And MindSet helped me further my goals towards saving, but then it also helped me narrow down one of my weak spots, which is getting my resume up to snuff. I have qualifications, but I don't always, it's nice having access to someone who's just going to help you. Hey, I'll review your resume. Here's what you need to improve on. And that's a part of it. And a day-to-day thing, whenever you have a weekly meeting with your coach, you'll go over, you can talk to them about what's going on in your life. What challenges are you facing? Do you need help in another area? If you're struggling with even just transportation, that was another thing. Whenever I would go to a meeting, I would catch the train down there. When I leave, they had SEPTA passes. So that way, if I needed to, if I was short on money, I could use the SEPTA pass, so I didn't have to worry about, oh, wait, I can get there, but how am I going to get home? And it varies, but your coach is there to help you, not necessarily guide you. All the ideas are yours, so you have to do your part, but your coach is also going to help you. And no, MindSet is free. There is no salary requirement for it. It's not, I know, I thought the same thing too. I was wondering during my interview, all right, how much is this going to cost? Doesn't cost anything.
Yeah. Wonderful. Oh, somebody else is coming in. Does anyone have any further questions of Stefan? I liked especially what you said, Stefan, all the ideas are yours. I wrote that down because I think that's such a powerful thing.
Yeah, it can be a little jarring at first during the first meeting because you're meeting someone and then they're trying to help you, but you realize, oh, okay. I talked with my coach. He said, I can only help you if you show the interest, and if you want, like, I'll help you in any way. But if you say, hey, I want to do this, I'll help you do the research for it, but I can't do it for you. So it's a part of, okay, I have people that are going to help me, but I have to I have to do my part.
Yeah. There was a question about the salary requirement that I think you answered fairly clearly. There is no minimum or salary that a person has to make under that in order to qualify. Is that right?
Yes, there is no, because I see the question in the chat right now.
Yep, exactly.
There's no minimum requirement for anyone to participate.
Right.
No minimum. I don't think there's a max either. I could be wrong. Sorry, James.
It's all good. I wanted just to clarify there are income thresholds based on household size, but that information can be shared. So we go from we look at anywhere from 1 to a household size of 8 and beyond that.
Yeah.
So I can share that information can be shared. I guess as a follow-up for this.
Right.
Okay.
And then you see the question that Margaret asked about what sort of things a coach covers during the weekly session. That's maybe something Cordell can speak to exactly, but just note that it's there.
Okay, and I can speak to what it's been like a little bit on the COVID crisis.
Mm-hmm.
The shift was drastic, but everyone kind of adapted well because there was a lull where everybody was trying to get adjusted, but I very easily could still get in contact with any of the specialists and my coach through email. There was never a point in time where I felt like, oh, I can't speak to them.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get updated on what's going on, and a new plan was developed and things have continued forward.
Yeah, wonderful.
All right. Well, I think we have Cordell briefly. He actually has a coaching meeting, I think, after this. So wanted to hear from him in his quick time frame. Cordell has been a coach here and previously a participant. He'll tell us a little bit about that. We have to unmute him. There we go.
There I am. So, thank everyone for coming and participating in this. And it's been my pleasure and kind of an honor to to work with all of DCF staff for a number of years, and also to have participants who actually get it. One of the things I will say is, my journey through coaching. Carol said I was a participant.
Sorry about that.
I was an intern.
Yeah,
I was an intern. I started as an intern at ECS in 2015 through 2017. Then I became a consultant for ECS, and I was there from the inception of MindSet. When it wasn't even called MindSet, it was called the Intensive Program or something. It didn't even have a name yet. And I was asked as the consultant, and I just sat in on the meetings and I watched it come to fruition. And one of the things I said to James was that, I came from a clinician perspective from college, and that was going to be all geared toward case management. But as I became an intern with ECS from the very beginning, James and Arlie taught me the concept of coaching, that model of coaching. So, I was on a different playing field than some of my counterparts in class, because I was already getting the coaching model where they had not even shifted to that coaching model. So, those guys, ECS was definitely ahead of the curve now, just like they're ahead of the curve with mindset. One thing I will say is that, how I've grown in the last 18 months as a coach has been just been phenomenal, but it's only due to having a staff around me that supports me, and understanding that, this model is new to a lot of social workers. So it takes some getting used to. From the very beginning, Dave, as an intern, Dave always had an open door policy, which was always great because you can go to him and talk to him about anything. The head coach is amazing. And then I had my supervisors, Arlie and James, and Stephanie, who were always interacting with us to say, hey, listen, I know this is something new to you, this is something different. Everyone follows this case management model, but this is the model of coaching that we want to follow. And that model of coaching just simply states that we are the students and the participants are the teacher, because they are the best at knowing who they are. So giving them a goal action plan and laying out a SMART goal, for instance, specific, measurable, obtainable, relevant, is the most important part to me as a coach and all of my other colleagues as coaches. Relevant and time bound. And we emphasize that relevancy because we want to know why you're doing it. If your why is strong enough, you can get anything accomplished that you want to get accomplished. And these are things that we go through with our participants. We look at the bridge. The bridge. The bridge is a holistic view of a participant. You have different pillars on each side of the bridge. And if anyone knows about a bridge and pillars, if one of those pillars are weak, then that bridge is weak in that area. So we strengthen the participant in those areas where they are weak. We help them. But one thing I learned earlier on in coaching, and it came from coaching from Arlie, it was that each time I asked her a question, she would ask me a question. Mm-hmm. And that question used to simply be, so what do you think? And then as I'm answering that question, I'm actually answering the question that I asked her. So that's what we do with our participants. We get down to the relevant reason why they want to do something, and then we hammer out action plans. We hammer it out. We go deep. We peel it back like an onion, and we make sure that this is something that's obtainable for them. I'm 6'1", 48 years old. I had dreams of playing in the NFL. I could set that goal to play in the NFL tomorrow, but it's not going to happen, right? So those are the things. So we want to make sure that these are obtainable goals for our participants. Challenges with the terminology of the bridge. Honestly, I said in the beginning, I'm just grateful that I have participants that get it. Now, that goes along with going through a process of interviewing that Stephan went through and finding participants that already have that mindset that they're goal-oriented, right? And even if they, just like Stephan was goal-oriented. He has a master's degree, so he came in, so he had to have some goal orientation. So, but even if they come in and they have that they're goal-oriented, sometimes they need some essential skills, something that they're not good at. And then we find that thing and we say, okay, we're going to make you better in that. We're going to help you to get better in that. And understanding that this bridge, this holistic view of you, is where we want to move you up to self-sufficiency. When describing SMART goals to our participant, that terminology is, it's become like second nature to me. So for me to explain it, it's like saying, it's in my everyday life. It's embedded in my DNA now. And now what I do is I use that in my everyday life. And that's what's happening with our participants. When we talk to them about specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound goals, that's another key point, time-bound. You can have a goal, but if you just put a goal out there and there's no limit on it, then people will go on and on and on and on and on. And I like to always tell all of our participants is that, hey, listen, let's not change the goal, let's change the plan. So when we're looking at SMART goals, it has to be very specific. For Stephan's case, Stephan was definitely, I knew that he had a background in the medical field, in the healthcare field. And not for nothing. I'm just being transparent here. Stefan was working at Wawa with a master's degree. He was working at Wawa with his master's degree. So I would, we had a conversation one day, and I was like, "Tell me why you're working there." And then once he explained, he came from Baltimore, and then he didn't have the connections that he had in Baltimore, here in Philadelphia. So I said, okay, let's build those connections. So what do you want to do? Do you want to get back into the healthcare field? Because if it's not relevant to you anymore, then hey, let's move on to something else. We can go back to school. We can do whatever you want to do. It's up to you. And that's what we like to say, that we're co-pilots of the ship. We're co-captains of the ship. They're driving the ship. We're just not going to let them crash into an iceberg. That's what we're not going to do. We're not going to let them crash. And sometimes it's, you have to let them go on their way, even if you don't agree with that plan. It's their plan. So, when we're making SMART goals, we just want to make sure that they're specific to what they want to do. They're measurable, they're obtainable, and they're relevant. And then we have a date. And those dates are tied into incentives. Those dates are tied in to a level up process that we have, where you go from not being meeting with your coach in meetings every 2 weeks, but then you go from one community meeting to one meeting with your coach a month. But that's in like the second or third year. But the first year it's not really intense. Like the first 12 weeks, 15 weeks are pretty intense with meetings and community, but that's to get that working memory going. Those executive functioning skills going, get that working memory going, that metacognition, to get those things, task initiation, those things that's relevant to that participant. But we know we need to bring those things out for them to be successful in the program. Lastly, the challenge is going virtual. The challenge is going virtual, especially during this pandemic, was, it was challenging. It was definitely challenging, and I didn't know how it was going to happen. And quite frankly, I was saying to myself, okay, I don't want this to be the new normal. But being that it is the new normal for the time being, I would say that, our program as a whole made a very smooth transition. There was some lag in the very beginning, trying to get in touch with participants and, let them know, hey, we're going all virtual. And then, the engagement, for certain participants fell off, but it was up to each and every coach to contact those participants and get them re-engaged. And quite frankly, I think we've done an amazing job. And I'm gonna pat myself on the back and give a thumbs up to James and the rest of the coaches, because we have less attrition right now with virtually than we did when we was actually in the office, which is crazy right now. It's more engagement is now because it's virtual. It's virtual. People are home. Basically, that's what it is, because everyone's home. So, it was challenging, but we have made it through this challenge, and we continue to push on. Like James said, our program from now on, from this point on, is all virtual, from the interview process all the way to programming. And for that, in this shorter period of time, to move everything to our virtual, I have to give, the kudos to, our amazing staff, James Burks, Arlie Steyer, Stephanie Colbert, and, the rest of the coaches and the specialists. And, that's my spill for the day, guys. And, Stephan has been a wonderful participant, and I thank him and thank all of you for showing up. But unfortunately, I have to leave because I had a prior appointment, and today was actually my day off. But thank you, guys. I'm sure that any questions that you would have for me, James can answer.
Thank you, Cordell. Your enthusiasm is it's always lovely to see and hear.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cordell. Have a great day.
Right, you too.
So we'll bring back James to wrap things up before we have an all-out question session.
Actually, can I add one more thing?
Yeah, sure.
It slipped my mind while I was speaking. One of the weekly things that, as a participant, you are encouraged to and you have to do to move forward in the program is you have to sign up for different trainings, and these trainings go from eating healthy to even learning about how to manage your finances. And you get to pick, and they have them available through different times during the week. If you're like me and it's hard, you mostly worked on the weekends. When I was still at Wawa, it was easier for me to go to meetings at night than it was during the weekend. But those have also gone online now, and they're all still available.
Yeah, wonderful.
Terrific.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks for, I am unmuted. I'm gonna say thanks for stuff, and that was a great segue. I did want to mention eligibility criteria as well as some more just the logistics around just what time commitment looks like for participants and scheduling and those things. So, eligibility criteria, we're looking for individuals 18 and older. As of right now, we're servicing those who are in Philly and the Philadelphia region. So folks can be from the suburbs to different various counties. And before it was, around transportation. So Stefan mentioned, providing participants with transportation if they needed that. But as of right now, we definitely are forecasting and moving forward for everything to be virtual, and we'll have like limited availability and opportunities for participants to engage with staff in a physically distanced way. I won't say socially distanced, but a physically distanced way if need be. And we're looking for individuals to have at least 3 to 5 years of work experience. So that can also include internships, apprenticeships, volunteer experience. We value all of that, so we definitely encourage individuals to apply, even if they may have a little bit under that, as well as information or credentials beyond a high school diploma. So that can be a certificate, so a serve safe, anything in the various fields of OSHA 30 or OSHA 10, some type of educational attainment beyond a high school diploma, as well. And then we're looking for individuals to have a more stable housing situation. So as of right now, we've been defining that as they're able to identify where they're living for at least for the next 6 months. So that could be with family or friends. As of right now, we can't service those who are currently in emergency housing or traditional housing. But if individuals feel that they may have a more defined plan on where they may be in a month, 2 months, in a more stable housing situation, again, we definitely encourage those individuals to apply. And we know folks may also fall in various buckets of they were furloughed or they lost their job due to COVID, or they're unemployed and actively looking for employment. We definitely welcome and are looking for those. We know that may speak to some individuals at this time who would like to engage in MindSet or currently in school or looking to enroll. And I think most importantly, like Stefan and Cordell mentioned, we're really looking for individuals who really are, looking and wanting to commit to making a change in their life. And this may be something where they're like, this may be that push that I need, or I may really, receive that purpose and that motivation around being around others who on a similar journey to just really to improve their situation not only for themselves, but also for their families. And so I just definitely wanted to share some eligibility criteria. And then just quickly, some logistics around things are, like Stefan mentioned, we try to be as flexible as we can. So we provide programming in the evening on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, as well as Saturdays. Our current group of participants, Tuesday evenings from around between 5 and 7, we usually offer things. And then on Saturdays, maybe between 10 and noon or 11 and 1, we try our best to accommodate those who may have various work schedules. And then they're really encouraged to meet with, current coaches are really encouraged to meet with the participants in very creative ways. So before it was, you can come to the office, it can maybe be over Zoom if need be, maybe a phone call, maybe in the community, because you may work at 45th Market, even though our main office is at 3rd and Walnut. That may not be, again, conducive to the participant's schedule. So the coach would, work with their schedule to say, okay, I'll meet you at 30th and Walnut. Maybe we can meet at the Starbucks or somewhere nearby or close to your home, again, to support you in what you're doing. And not, our whole goal is not to make more barriers and challenges for our participants. So we try to remove those and make it easier for folks to be engaged and participate. And on average, we look for individuals to, commit around 15 to 20 hours per month to MindSet. So that's a combination of the various trainings on the various topics, like Stefan mentioned. So whether it be personal finance, or it gives me more to understanding your credit or home ownership, or healthier eating options, or stress management techniques and tips that we've shared. We use partner organizations to provide that content as well. But combining that with the coaching meetings, as well as they may have any meetings with specialists, we're looking around anywhere from 15 to 20 hours per month for them to do that. And then as mentioned, kind of once that first year, once you're able to, move out that first year, really the emphasis really becomes and goes heavy on the coaching aspect. So those opportunities for training workshops are definitely still there. That requirement isn't there, but if it's something that someone still is relevant to their goal, we definitely encourage and welcome them to come to our various training and workshops. But really the idea is, really they're beginning to, like Cordell mentioned, begin to really absorb some of those coaching concepts and techniques and be able to do some of those things for themselves and become even more autonomous in their goal setting process.
James, there's a question that I think fits in right here from Keisha. How many participants are assigned to a coach?
Yeah, so for across the board, so I mentioned RISE initiative earlier, so that's our job readiness program, which is more of on a shorter term. So the idea is we're trying to have our two programs in alignment. So individuals maybe in RISE may say, I think MindSet will be a great opportunity for me and can really make that transition from RISE to MindSet. But we're looking at for coaches to have for them to have a maximum of 15 participants per caseload. So we have 3 coaches right now that are dedicated to workforce development and these serve as workforce development participants across those 2 programs.
Great.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention, I think the question around, I guess, how we've experienced, I know we've touched on some of the service delivery, how that's changed with COVID around everything going virtual. On my side, a lot of work that I do is engaging with employers, whether as well as other institutions. So whether it's Philadelphia Works or the Career Links or some of the research, I guess, think tanks on, okay, look this now, where are the shifts going to happen? Where are the jobs going? The city of Philadelphia, we did a lot of research and work around, okay, where's the city of Philadelphia going to be in surrounding areas, in 5 to 7 years? So what do we need to do now to support our participants in some of that coaching and career pathway generation? A lot of this has been changing. It's still changing. So we're just trying to really make sure that we're in the forefront of these conversations, participate in these conversations with the various entities to bring that information back home. And at this point, we're adapting and having to revise a lot of what we're doing. So if our participant says, hey, I would love to be certified peer specialist, I want to give back. That's a great start. We may say, okay, well, based on projections and data, this position may no longer be around in 3 years. Or here's what the income is for this position. How does it connect to your longer goal of achieving economic self-sufficiency? What might that next step be for you? Maybe that may be managerial or leadership in a similar space. Or okay, for you to continue going along this trajectory, what employers do we need to target? What education opportunity do we need to target? And working together really to build out that longer term goal plan and those action steps. And then in the short term, supporting participants in, okay, what are those things that need to be done now in the more immediate future? That's a lot of work that I'm doing, as well as our employment specialist that I'm happy to say that we just filled. So we'll be engaging employers on that end and workforce development partners and training providers to get a better grapple on industries that may be emerging or those that aren't looking as favorable from COVID and everything. So
Here's another question that I think you slightly touched on. Do most participants come to ECS on their own, like Stefan did? If not, how do you find them?
Yes. So MindSet, as Stefan mentioned, is totally free to participants. And we definitely leverage our partner organizations. So for our first 2 cohorts, we did a lot of tabling at various events. Mm-hmm. We have some partners that we've been able to work a lot more closely with. A few being the Dorrance Life Center, which is under Drexel University. I see some folks from ARC on. I know we've had referrals for our RISE initiative program, as well as Habitat for Humanity and Full Abundance. We're trying to be really strategic in some of our partnerships. But then, as well as, we definitely try to flood central platforms and buses and Ls and trains. We're in community, again, we're in the community. So before, we definitely try to have information where folks go, shop, right, supermarkets, libraries. You could expect the MindSet flyer there. We're on the radio. We purchase space for billboards. We try to leave no stone uncovered. But moving forward for cohort 3, which we are recruiting for right now, we're definitely like leveraging social media and online spaces, and we're gearing up for a SEPTA ad run. I'm going to start soon, so we'll be beginning interviewing soon, and our recruitment period will be going as of right now until the end of September.
Yeah.
And then with programming with the actual cohort to start in early November.
James, would you like me to pull up that slide about, if I can, the slide about that, so some of the preliminary results that you could speak to? Shall I try for that? Let me see if I can do
I
it.
would say we're running low on time.
All right, this will be just quickly, but I thought people might like to see some of this.
Awesome.
Can you all see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so here was just some data that we have been provided from our learning and evaluation team. And we collect data and do reviews on a quarterly basis. What you see here is just we're looking at short-term goal achievement. And it could be, we're looking at really around 6 months or less. So you see we've had a lot of success so far, really in the physical and mental health space, as well as some success in net worth and debts and savings. I think we've talked internally around, that this takes time. We're really two cohorts in, but really that's around about less than 2 years. So we begin, like I mentioned, incremental success, progress across cohorts, as well as for individuals. And we've really just been trying to build on the success on, if Stephen had success in one area, what worked for him? How can we replicate that success across the program? Whether it was through coaching or content that we provided, or again, just the innate abilities of our participants. We're trying to really unpack those and pull those things out to replicate those things, as well as consulting with empath on a regular basis. Again, like Dave mentioned, who came up with this framework and the terminology on their learning and their challenges and their successes, and how we can just build on that.
Great, thank you. I just thought people might want to see that.
Thank you. Please unmute your mic if you have additional questions or if we didn't quite get the right response to you that you were expecting. And meanwhile, Victoria, you want to put up the final slide about how you can help? We've talked about volunteering. I also wanted to put in a plug for our Forum for Justice and Opportunity, which takes place each fall. This year it's the week of October 26th. We're doing it virtually. Probably at the noontime hours would be the ones to map out, set aside at this point until we have a few more details, but we're really excited. It's education about advocacy and the topics that we feel are really important for addressing some of the stupid public policies, as Dave likes to say, that hold people back, to keep people in poverty. And it's a great way to learn more about those issues.
Are there any further questions? I have to.
I still had I wasn't clear on if a participant comes in. I've been a partner with MindSet for about a year through my previous employer, Center for Literacy. And when I was signing students up, we were told it was about 35,000 and under that they were looking for participants to make in order to join. The last person that was running MindSet is no longer there. I think you guys have somebody new. I was just wondering, is that the same with household income that you need to make at least 35 or under, or is it something different?
Great question. So that was the case before, and we've moved towards to have a one or more accurate and comprehensive look at that. So I was on the site really fast. So for example, if it's a household of one, we're looking at individuals to make, they can't exceed 18,000, and there's like an hourly conversion for that as well. There might be like $15. A family of two is around 36. A family of three is around 40. And then we have also on our page, so if you go to ecsaffili.org/mindset, we have a whole page, and then that's under the eligibility section. So like I mentioned, that chart goes up to a household size of 8, and we're looking at the household size, the income of the individual applying. So we also verify that through tax returns. They may say, hey, also I received these benefits, or I can provide proof of different award letters for whatever I'm receiving income for. As of right now, we're looking at, their current income. And we also have the hourly breakdown for that. So what that conversion for those who may not be on a salary basis.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, and then quickly to share, so if someone says, great, I love, this sounds awesome, I'd love to apply. The first step for them will be completing an eligibility quiz. And then if they were successful around that, they'll be directed to an application. And with our application, we have individuals submit their resume. We ask for two references, as well as we have 2 writing prompts, really just to get a better sense of, 1, why they're interested in mindset, and then 2, any goals they may have moving forward, to see, what some of their aspirations are. And then from there, we will bring someone in for an interview. At this point, it will be on Zoom or a virtual platform. And really, and then ask a series of those various questions, some that are situational, behavioral, others around, their motivations, and, again, why, for them, what can mindset support them in doing and achieving. And then from there, we say, great, you're a great candidate. We'd love to invite you to an orientation. They will come to an orientation and learn more about the ins and outs of the program, what's required of them, as well as the coach and the specialist and all the different inner working of the program. And then from there, they will be matched with a coach and begin to really, like Cordell and Stephen mentioned, identify some of those various goals and different action steps they can begin to tease out. And then from there, official program will start, and then various trainings and opportunities they believe are relevant and are associated with their goals they can sign up for. And we do have different requirements in terms of meetings with the coach, as well as training that we ask them to attend. But all that is shared throughout the process with participants. So that's just a quick, I guess, the condensed version of having someone go from applicant to a participant.
Terrific. Well, thank you all. Feel free to contact us. We have contact information on the website again, in various places. But if you can't find anything else, email me at caroln@ecsphilly.org, and I'll make sure to direct you to the right place. Please stay tuned to the invitations to our other events scheduled for this summer, and probably in about 3 weeks, we'll be sending an invitation out to the next one on August 27th about our St. Barnabas mission, which will be really exciting. It's our first time we're doing something like that with them. And thank you for attending today. It's been fun to see you all.
Thank you all.